what's up everyone, Mike Rosen here, and today we're going to be doing a breakdown on Christian McCaffrey. It's been about a year and a half since I did a breakdown on Christian McCaffrey, so I've done it in the past, but I know I've personally gotten a lot smarter with better understanding, how to do these breakdowns, and also, what is some key information to be able to take from these breakdowns. And I think within Christian McCaffrey's start, we can really learn a lot of great information to utilize within our own start in order to really maximize our overall performance. So as always, if you like the information, go ahead and click the thumbs up down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you have any questions, comments, or anything like that, go ahead and leave that in the comments down below. We'll hop in the video right now. Okay, so Christian McCaffrey here is, somebody that, just from a technical perspective, I think has some great mechanics in the 40-yard dash, and again, some things that I think we could really take away from. The first thing I always talk about, and I know if you've watched these videos before, you already know, but if this is your first time watching that front knee and really understanding, how that front knee goes is an important thing, and seeing how it drops initially like that. There's some guys that talk about how that back foot, shouldn't go back at all. I do think that it ends up having to go back and push down. All the best guys that do it, John Ross, Christian McCaffrey, really anybody that has a great start, Marquise Goodwin, all go in, they push down with that back leg first, drop that front knee down, get full extension within the back leg. But what we're really looking to see is how much time is being spent on the ground. So we can see here, or what happens here is he first touches the ground here at 9.03. and he's off the ground at about 9.20, maybe 9.21, we'll say. So that's about a 0.18 for contact time. And that really ends up being a pretty average contact time within that front leg. And this is something that is fairly easy to be able to do yourself here, and being able to understand, how to break down your own sprint and your own start to be able to see what are some of the necessary adjustments that need to be made. And the reason I'm doing this is just because I recently did a breakdown, and it kind of exposed some of the things that needed to be corrected within a start there. And so what ends up happening here is when you can really go into the numbers. So now we'll go to the second step, 9.43, and he pushes off at 9.60. So again, that's 0.17. So when you really go and get to looking at the numbers, you can see how you're progressing over the course of the sprint, and how well you're able to transition from your kind of start phase into your transition phase or drive phase, and into your top end speed phase. So you got 9.18 and then 1.7. Notice how high his legs already are. This is going to be his third step touching the ground here. He's going to touch it about, what is that? Let's say 9.69. and is off by probably 9.81-ish, right? So he's already within those first three steps getting close to, or already into 0.12 around time period, maybe 0.13 in terms of how much time that you spend on the ground. And usually what I say is that within 4 steps, you want to be spending 9.93 under 0.14 seconds on the ground, and off at 10.03. Right, and so that is already at about 0.1. So he has tremendous acceleration, right? And one of the big things that I think has an impact on that, because in 4 steps to already have a foot contact time of 0.1 is great. You're going to be setting yourself up to run something like a 4.4, 4.5 by doing that, which is where Christian McCaffrey was at. And so what's happening is that if we look back, you can see how he's driving that knee up and getting a lot of height within the leg, right? And then able to create a lot of pullback, right? So from getting this knee all the way up to the position it is, and then being able to pull that foot back down and land in a position where his foot's, not directly underneath the hips, but pretty close to underneath the hips, makes it so now he has the power generated before his foot touches the ground. That makes it so now when his foot's touching the ground, he can really be quick with that timing, right? So what ends up happening to guys is that they don't get the foot out in front very well, and because that when the foot's touching the ground, it's a lot more of a force deriving action, right? Which means that you have to utilize that that time spent on the ground in order to generate the force you need to be able to propel yourself off and generate the necessary force or torque needed to be able to get a great leg cycle. What Christian McCaffrey does that's different is he's getting that foot all the way out in front, pulling that leg back before his foot even touches the ground. So now when the foot's touching the ground, it's just absorbing and then pushing right back off. So it's a lot more of like a plyometric effect where you're just going to be bouncing. It's like a rebound where it's just going to go, the force is going to go into the ground and then take it right back out and push right back off. So now he doesn't have to utilize that time spent on the ground as much to be able to generate his force. He already has the force generated within his body, which makes it so he's able to get under that 0.14 and under that first 4 steps, which I think is a critical part of being able to run a elite time when it comes to running a 40-yard dash. Obviously, you want to be able to get in like the 0.12 area within those first 4 steps, and that's how you're going to be able to run, closer to the low 4.4s or into the 4.3s. And that's a very, very important part of being able to, sprint fast. And notice, because everybody tries to say stay down, you need to stay, in that drive phase for a long time. And you do need to stay in the drive phase. It's not like I'm saying, that's not an important part of the run, but notice how fast he's able to get himself from this kind of starting position into, the spine basically being upright, right? I mean, he doesn't spend a lot of time with his chest down, eyes down, head down, nothing's really looking down. And this is his already 7th step right here. He's basically looking straight up, and he's able to transition from his start phase through his transition or drive phase to his top end speed really quickly, or at least the top end speed positioning, right? It's not necessarily he's in his top end speed, and so it's still considered the drive phase because he's still creating that force, but he's in the top end postural position, right? So you don't want to end up staying down for too long because that makes it so you end up staying in your drive phase longer than you necessarily need to. You want to be able to get your hips through, work on that hip extension, and really make sure that you're getting that leg drive and creating a lot of force down into the ground, and that will make it so then you can get into your top end speed a little bit faster. This is really important when it comes to the 40, and now once you get to your top end speed, you got to just be able to hold it for a long period of time when it comes to being able to run the 100 or something like that. Now, once you get into more of like a 200-meter race, you don't need to be as quick to get to your top end speed. Because you have the turn that you have to be able to get through. So you have more time to be able to develop, and then you get to that last straightaway, and now you want to be going to your top end speed. But when it comes to running the 40, running the 100, you're running in a straight line the whole time. It's about being able to get to your top end speed fast and then being able to maintain that and just understanding the mechanics to be able to do that. So, by doing this breakdown, hopefully you get a better understanding of where your start should be. If, you have any questions about that, would be happy to help you out. I will say, getting these breakdowns done will give you a clear understanding of what needs to be worked on within your 40. We currently have a program available right now. Within the program, you get a free breakdown, right? It's a 3-month program, only $109. I highly recommend it if you guys are looking to get faster in the 40 in a very, very quick amount of time, just because we'll be able to identify what you need to do in order to improve within your mechanics and then be able to get you on a plan to be able to address that and improve that. So, I highly recommend you doing that, especially if you've been watching these videos and kind of understand what I'm talking about here or into the analytics of it all. Everybody that's in the programs now really enjoy the analytics, and I hear that a lot, and it's something that I'm glad people out there really enjoy it, because I think it can really help them in improving their speed. All right, as always, thanks for watching these videos, and we'll talk to you soon.